Hello, I'm Nima Rajan. RCMP dashcam video of an officer tackling a Northern Alberta First Nation chief and punching him in the head is part of a court application to get criminal charges against Chief Alan Adams Stade. The 12-minute video shows the situation deteriorating after an officer approached Chief Adams' truck outside a casino in Fort McMurray for having expired plates. Wood Buffalo RCMP issued a statement that supervisors reviewed the video and determined the officer's actions were reasonable. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said today at his daily briefing that the police dashcam video of the violent arrest is shocking and not an isolated incident. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer says it's right that the case is now being investigated, calling the video deeply disturbing. A survey finds that global poverty is set to surge by 400 million people to over 1 billion people due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Researchers point to poverty increasing dramatically in middle-income developing countries where millions live just above the poverty line. One author says the economic hit could set back efforts to reduce global poverty by 30 years. An important measure of household debt rose in the first quarter as the COVID-19 pandemic started shutting down the economy. Statistics Canada reports household credit market debt as a proportion of household disposable income rose to 176.9% from 175.6%. That means there was $1.77 in credit market debt for every $1 of household disposable income. Statistics Canada added that annual trends show that lower income households tended to have a higher debt to disposable income ratio. Well, most Ontario regions outside the Toronto and Hamilton area will be allowed to reopen more businesses today. The second stage of the province's reopening includes restaurant patios, hair salons, and swimming pools. The limit on social gatherings will increase from 5 to 10 province-wide, but people must still stay 2 meters away from anyone outside their own household. Childcare centres across Ontario will be allowed to reopen, but it's not yet clear how many will be able to implement new pandemic safety measures immediately. Both Loblaw and Metro are ending COVID-19 wage premiums for their employees as of tomorrow. The grocery store chains have been paying frontline employees $2 more per hour since mid-March. Loblaw Executive Chairman Galen Weston says the situation has stabilized at its supermarkets and drugstores. BC's chief coroner is urging the federal government to take bold action on the overdose crisis as it has done with the COVID-19 pandemic. That's after the province recorded 170 deaths from illicit drug overdoses last month, which is the most deaths ever in a single month. Lisa Lapointe says many deaths are related to measures aimed at stemming transmission of COVID-19, which means people are staying away from supervised consumption sites and using drugs alone. The coroner service also says concentrations of fentanyl have reached the highest levels since BC declared the overdose crisis a public health emergency 4 years ago. The RCMP's report on employment equity for 2018-2019 reveals efforts to diversify the workforce aren't working. The report finds the proportion of women, visible minorities, and disabled people within the RCMP is still lower than the rates found in the general workforce. It concludes the Mounties must, quote, continue to strive to increase the diversity of its workforce by removing barriers which inhibit attracting new employees who will bring a greater diversity of identities, backgrounds, experiences, and expertise. Scientists at Johns Hopkins University are beginning a new study to tell if the blood plasma of COVID-19 survivors might help prevent infection in the first place. Doctors are already using survivor plasma as a treatment for many hospitalized patients, even as research continues into whether it really works. The plasma contains virus-fighting antibodies that could give an immune system boost to people who are newly exposed to the coronavirus and help ward off illness. Black community and political leaders are calling on U.S. President Donald Trump to change the date or place of a campaign rally scheduled for June 10th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They are denouncing his plans for a rally on the day that marks the end of slavery in America. In 1921, Tulsa was the site of an orchestrated white-on-black attack. Tulsa community leader Sherry Gamble Smith calls it a, quote, slap in the face. The British economy took a massive hit in April when it put its COVID-19 restrictions in place. It shrank by 20.4% in April, wiping out nearly 2 decades worth of growth. All areas of the economy suffered, especially pubs, education, health, and car sales. The monthly decline, unprecedented in both scale and speed, had been expected. Italian police have detained 10 Nigerians accused of running a human trafficking ring. Police say recruiters in Nigeria used voodoo rituals and promises of jobs to lure migrants to Italy. Once they arrived in the European country, migrants were put to work as prostitutes. Police say the victims paid as much as $28,000 each to get from Nigeria to Libya and then across the Mediterranean Sea to Italy. The police say that before leaving Nigeria, victims had to take part in a ritual that involved an oath not to speak out or flee and to pay back the cost of their trip. An Afghan official says a bomb has exploded inside a mosque in western Kabul, killing 4 people, including the prayer leader. Violence has spiked in recent weeks in Afghanistan, with most of the attacks claimed by the Islamic State group's affiliate. Earlier this month, an IS suicide bomber attacked another mosque in Kabul, killing the prayer leader and wounding 8 others. The Taliban issued a statement condemning Friday's attack and calling the death of the prayer leader a great crime. Proceeds from a song written in memory of Edmonton Oilers player Colby Cave will go to mental health programs and providing access to sports for underprivileged children. The song, Agape, meaning selfless, unconditional love, by Oilers prospect Cooper Meredy, is out today on Apple Music and Spotify. Cave died April 11th in a Toronto hospital after suffering a brain bleed. Well, that'll do it for today's news update. I'm Nima Rajan. Thank you for joining us today, and I'll see you next time.